news headlines. Rescheduled Ukanafun House of Assembly election concluded. Yesterday was World Malaria Day. Mrs. Akpabio donates to widows of fallen heroes at Wellington Basi Barracks, Abak. The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations Akwa Ibom State Chapter holds 2015 Annual General Meeting and second Chief O.W. Udo Memorial Lecture. Honors 3 indigents and 2 corporate entities in the state. Details of these and other stories in a moment. Good morning and thanks for joining us. My name is Sam Udofia. Peaceful atmosphere characterized the rescheduled House of Assembly elections for Ukanafun State constituency, which took place yesterday in the area. Correspondent Etienne Ibanga, who monitored the exercise across the 11 wards of Ukanafun local government area, reports that voters were seen at various polling units waiting to discharge their franchise. At Government Primary School in Sege, Ward 5, which hosted 2 units, accreditation commenced at 9:20 a.m., while heavy security personnel were on ground to ensure safety of lives and property. Some voters applauded INEC for the mature conduct of the rescheduled elections. At Government House Ikoroku Usong, Ward 4, with 3 polling centers, the member representing Ukanafun State constituency, Elder Anyaka Nakban, his wife Unyeme, and the national officer of PDP, Mr. Udo Ekbenyon, were among voters who exercised their civic responsibility. They said accreditation went on in a smooth and peaceful manner and applauded the effective mobilization of voters to exercise their rights.
It's very smooth, very smooth.
The by-election for the State House of Assembly of Ukanafun State Constituency is very peaceful. The security agencies have done a marvelous job.
At Ward 7, Unit 10, Ikot Udomba, the Commissioner for Lands and Town Planning, Obong Enoakwan, joined others in the accreditation exercise. Speaking to newsmen, Obong Enoakwan said he was impressed with the turnout of people, noting that the exercise is peaceful and orderly.
The security has been pressed aside. The election centers have completed distributing materials in 13 minutes in this ward. And we believe that when the 1 o'clock
when the AKBC crew visited Ward 3, Unit 4 at Village Hall, Nyariba, people were seen waiting for voting while the presiding officer said the accreditation was very successful. At Wasco, Ukanafun Urban Ward 1, Unit 1, youth, women and elders were through with the accreditation as at 12:20 p.m. waiting for actual voting to commence. One of the voters and journalists in the state, Godwin Benson, said the unit had been noted for peaceful and orderly conduct and expressed optimism that the voters will replicate what they did in the previous elections.
To perform their civic responsibility. They have been waiting here since morning. Accreditation is almost over. Some have gone. These ones are still waiting. They say they want to vote. But it's very peaceful, it's very calm.
At Ward 8, Unit 3, St. Michael's Primary School, Ikoretum, the local government chairman, Apostle Sylvester Udoka, was among voters who were accredited.
This is not the first election that we have done. We have done the presidential election, we have done House of Rep, we have done Senate election, we have done the governorship election. This was the election that was put off because of the crisis that we have in the Ukanafun. So today we are reconvincing ourselves to complete the righteous.
At primary school, Ikorak Bangkok Urban Ward 1, Unit 1, voting commenced by 1:40 p.m. Commenting on the exercise, one of the voters and former member of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Obong Saturday Akpan, described the exercise as smooth, credible and peaceful, and applauded the large turnout of people of the ward at the polls.
Grateful to God for the opportunity that He has given of PDP family to demonstrate, and the people of Okanafo government to demonstrate their civic responsibilities.
At Ward 8, Unit 5 and 9, Ikorak Baidem, voting was almost concluded as at the time of our visit. A former transition chairman of Okanafo, Prince Nsikarabasi Umoipo, said the election was peaceful and the turnout impressive.
This is Ward what?
This is Ward 8, Unit 9.
Okay.
We have another unit here, Unit 8. Okay. Everything is going on fine. We don't have any issues.
Okay.
The result of the election is being awaited. The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Uyo, Professor Comfort Ekpo, has advised students of the institution to always exhaust peaceful measures to settle their grievances with the university management. Professor Ekpo gave the advice following a protest by some students at the main campus of the university over the disqualification of their candidate in the student union elections. She wondered why some students should resort to protest without formal complaining in writing, and directed them to formally present their complaints to the management. The Vice-Chancellor further advised students, parents and the public against external collaboration, influence and bad politics in student union elections, adding that the university was not a political platform but a citadel of learning where students are groomed for national development. One of the students said they were protesting against the disqualification of their candidate in the chemical engineering department, who was vying for the post of the president of the student union government. The secretary of the student union electoral committee, Mr. Anefio Ekpo, said the approval and disqualification of candidates for the student union election is an executive decision of the State Security Service, adding that the duty of the university is to compile names of candidates vying for different positions and send them to the security agencies for screening before the elections. He said this is applicable with secular elections, pointing out that this has been the practice in the university for several years. Yesterday was World Malaria Day. It was instituted by the World Health Organization at its 16th session in 2007 to draw attention of the people to the scourge of malaria and seek ways of eradicating it. This year's celebration has its theme, Invest in the Future, Defeat Malaria. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Ememe Basibasi, in a broadcast to the people, described malaria as a mosquito-borne infectious disease on humans, which has remained a major cause of morbidity in the state and country, leading to frequent hospital visits, absenteeism from schools, and eventual low academic performance. According to him, about 3.3 billion people in 106 countries, including Nigeria, are at risk of malaria, adding that 85% of the cases and 90% of death occur in Africa, mainly among women and children. He said the theme, Invest in the Future, Defeat Malaria, is a 3-year theme chosen by Rollback Malaria Partners for the period of 2013, 2014, 2015 to draw attention on the need to reach the 2015 Millennium Development Goals and defeat malaria in the future.
3.3 billion, about half of the world population, in 106 countries, including Nigeria, are at risk of malaria.
I reminded the people of the different approaches and strategies put in place by the state government to curb the menace of malaria. These, he said, include improving prompt and appropriate management of malaria cases within 24 hours of onset of symptoms, provision of artemisinin, basis, combination therapies, ACTs 1, 2, 3 and 4 to all health facilities, promoting of multiple preventive measures such as use of long-lasting insecticidal nets. Others are training of health personnel on the use of rapid diagnostic test kits and the provision of all anti-malaria commodities in public health facilities for distribution to the people free of charge.
Since 2000, the war has made major progress in reducing malaria illness and deaths, demonstrating that the fight against the disease has been one of our best investments in global health to date. Over 4.2 million lives have been saved. Maternal mortality rates in Africa have decreased by 54%. Global malaria mortality rates have decreased by 47%, and 4 countries have been certified free of malaria in the last decade. The Akwa Ibom state government, in line with the National Malaria Elimination Program, has put different approaches and strategies in place to curb the menace of malaria.
In line with the World Health Organization's campaign to eradicate malaria, an international organization, AfriCare, in collaboration with ExxonMobil, has embarked on a malaria outreach to create awareness on the disease at Upanekam in Ibadan local government area. The outreach was part of activities to mark this year's World Malaria Day. Correspondent Olubayo Akindele reports that the theme of this year's campaign is Invest in the Future and Defeat Malaria.
Community who came out in their numbers to take part in the exercise were tested, provided with drugs and mosquito nets, as well as educated on the symptoms of the disease. The spokesperson for AfriCare, Dr. Patrick Hada, said AfriCare and ExxonMobil are committed to the welfare and health of the people, adding that over 72,520 people, which includes 12,579 children under age 5 and 10,480 pregnant women, have benefited from the AfriCare ExxonMobil project since its commencement in 2011. He said his organization has trained over 172 health workers on rapid diagnostic test (RDT), drug administration, logistics and proper data capturing and reporting on malaria cases.
Considering the World Malaria Day is to create awareness of the need to do what you can to prevent or treat malaria. With this World Malaria Day is a day set aside to sensitize people, to let them know about the tools, the various things that people can do to prevent or treat malaria.
The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Imam Abazibasi, who appreciated AfriCare and ExxonMobil for the outreach, reiterated the state government commitment towards combating malaria and improving on the standard of health of the people.
We will continue to give the drugs. So that's what we're trying. We don't pay free of I don't free of charge. But what do you want to nurse? What want to nurse or doctor?
Some of the beneficiaries of the malaria outreach program expressed their satisfaction with the program and implored the state government and all other partner organizations to intensify their efforts in fighting malaria. World Malaria Day was instituted by WHO member states during the World Health Assembly of 2007 for continuous investment and sustained political commitment for malaria prevention and control. Olubayo Akindele reporting.
Thank you, Bayo. Still on the news, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This is a public service announcement. The government of Akwa Ibom State wishes to bring to the notice of visitors and residents of the state steps to take in preventing the incidence or spread of the deadly Ebola virus disease in Akwa Ibom State. The Ebola virus can be contacted through any of the following ways: contact with the body fluids of those who are visibly sick from the disease, contact with the corpse of somebody who died from the disease, contact with an animal that is carrying the virus, especially fruit bats and monkeys. Symptoms of this deadly disease include sudden high fever, persistent headache, diarrhea, vomiting, general weakness, joint and muscle ache, sore throat, chest pain, internal and external bleeding. To prevent this disease, wash your hands regularly with soap and water. Keep your environment clean and properly fumigate your surroundings if you have pests around. Report any suspicious symptoms in yourself or anyone to the nearest health facility immediately you notice them. Medical personnel should use personal protective equipment when handling suspected cases and corpses. Be careful when handling dead bushmeat. Spread the message. Tell your neighbors, colleagues, domestic staff, family members and friends. Akwa Ibom is safer when everyone is educated about Ebola. For more information, call the helplines 0812-769-8984, 0812-769-8959, 0812-769-8949. Ebola kills fast. Spread this message faster. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Information and Communications, Akwa Ibom State.
You're still watching AKBC 45 News at dawn, and I am Samuel Udofia. The wife of the state governor, Mrs. Akaite Onoma Akpabio, has called on widows of fallen heroes not to be deterred by the situation they find themselves, but look up to God for their comfort and sustenance. Mrs. Akpabio made the call during a visit to the Nigerian Army Wellington Barracks 6 Battalion Barracks, Ibawa, where she met with the widows. Livingstone Daniel takes us there.
Represented by the Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Dr. Gloria Edet, the governor's wife, charged widows of fallen heroes to remain resolute in prayers, look up to God for comfort, adding that God will provide and take care of their children. She advised them to engage in income-generating activities to better the lot of their children, adding that God will multiply the works of their hands. Mrs. Akpabio thanked wives of officers of the Nigerian Army for being pillar of support to their husband in ensuring that the state and nation is safe, and donated 40 wrappers to 40 widows at the barracks with 10,000 naira each to support their families. She also donated 300,000 naira to the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association in Bawa Barracks.
The government said we should come and meet all of you, and she loves them. And for the widows, she said we should tell you that we should not be discouraged. That the burden affects you since when your husband dies in this moment will continue to heal. Good mother, we have the list here from your mother. She has given us the list. So we give each widow here from the wife of the governor one more wrapper each and a total of 10,000 naira.
Wife of the commanding officer Ibawa Barracks and President Nigerian Army Officers' Wife Association, the Private State Chapter, Mrs. Ibizo Obu, appreciated the governor's wife for the visit. She said NAWA is committed to ensuring that its members were adequately catered for, and solicited the governor's wife support for the rehabilitation project at the barracks initiated by NAWA.
We know the word to use to appreciate people, because indeed people have really showed me that you are actually welcomed us in Akwa Ibom, and you have proved what they've been saying about Akwa Ibom, that you people are nice people, you are loving people, you are caring people. I don't need to say it, there is no dispute about it.
The commanding officer 6th Battalion Ibawa Barracks, Lieutenant Colonel Idoniboye Obu also thanked the governor's wife for the visit and appreciated Governor Godswill Akpabio's support to the barracks over the years. The leader of the widows in the barracks, Mrs. Teresa Saturday, appreciated the governor's wife for the visit, praying that God will reward her for remembering them at this period.
Indeed, a great honor to the entire
the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, NIPR, has held her 2015 annual general meeting and the second memorial lecture in honor of her pioneer chairman, the late Chief O.W. Udoh. The event, which took place at the NIPR Secretariat Image House Information Drive, Uyo, featured the flagging off of the South-South Study Center for the awards of certificates of the Institute. Ayana Paul reports.
Welcoming guests and members of the NIPR to the event, the Akwa Ibom State Chapter Chairman, Mrs. Elsie Udofia, said NIPR was founded in 1963 and received a chartered status in 1990 through Decree 16, now Act of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mrs. Udofia, who is also the Director General of Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation, said the annual general meeting is always to refresh memories of members and get them updated, as well as review what the Institute has done in the past years. On the memorial lecture of the pioneer chairman, Chief O.W. Udoh, Mrs. Udofia said is to uphold the contributions of the late icon to the Institute. The state NIPR chairman mentioned that the chapter has been participating fully in national activities and capacity building to equip members and lauded all who attended the event.
Somebody is lecturer and have something to take home as to how we can manage reputation, not just at the national level, but it will help us take back home in our different institutions and even our home.
The chairman of the station, Mr. Sam Uko, said the theme of the lecture, Managing Reputation in National Crisis, is very apt now that the nation is facing insecurity challenge, advising participants to listen attentively. Flagging of the South-South Study Center, the national president of NIPR, Dr. Rotimi Oladele, congratulated the state chapter for the study center, which he rated high among the 6 that is in the country, promising to donate 250 volumes of books to the center. On the memorial lecture, the national president said lack of good image leads to bad reputation, adding that to have a good reputation, one should always know that he or she is a mirror to others. He mentioned determinants of good image to include quality of thinking and that of association.
First study center we pronounce to be so in Nigeria. So you find yourself not again number one. When you don't have reputation, you lack good image for others. So you must have it.
The head of civil service, Mrs. Cecilia Odoisien, who was represented at the event by the Permanent Secretary, State Universal Basic Education Board, Pastor Praise Okun, lauded the state chapter of the NIPR for their initiative of affording members the opportunity to build their capacity and for promoting professionalism. Mrs. Odoisien noted that the activities of public relations is in line with the state government's policy of promoting professionalism and excellence by training and retraining its workforce.
The establishment of this center in Uyo will afford our people, both in public and private business enterprises, the opportunity to take advantage of programs offered by the Institute to build their capacity, especially in the field of foreign relations.
In a lecture on the theme of the second memorial lecture of Chief O.W. Udoh, Managing Reputation in National Crisis, the director NOUN Calabar Center said corporate image of an organization is a summation of all impression perceived of the organization through its product, services, attitude, and behavior. Dr. Andy Heme said though consistency of image orientation turns to reputation, reputation is strategic while image is created. crisis management, the lecturer noted, can arise from distressed economy through labor disputes in political capitalism, but indicated that with communication, crisis can be managed.
Another problem that can cause crisis is when there's information overload.
In another lecture on the sub-theme of the memorial lecture, Emerging Challenges in Crisis Management, the Public Relations Perspective, Professor Des Wilson of the University of Uyo said public relations encourages ethical use of lobbying, propaganda, social events, but enjoined practitioners to always carry the praise along. Crisis Management Professor Wilson said, if handled properly, can reduce damage and build a society.
This is a crucial or decisive moment or a turning point in a time of difficulty or distress and demands institutional crisis communication.
The event featured questions and answer session, while the national president inaugurated the governing board of the state chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. The eulogy of the pioneer chairman of the NIPR in the state, late Chief O.W. Doe, was also read by Elder Namso Umoren. Iyageno Paul reporting.
Thank you, Ayana Paul. 3 indigenes of the state and 2 corporate entities have been honored by the Akwa Ibom State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations for their contributions to the development of human and community relations. They are the Commissioner for Works, Mr. Don Etem, Senator Helen Eswene, Chief Ukokban Ekbo Umana, and the Isabella Medical Scholars Fund and Inoyo Toro Foundation. The honor was conferred on them at an awards dinner night and a 20 million naira Secretariat Expansion Fund lunch as part of activities marking the 2015 General Meeting of the Institute and second late Chief O.W. Udo Memorial Lecture. Idarabong Nse reports that the event took place at the Civil Service Auditorium, the Idomaset County Secretariat in Uyo.
The dinner and award, which was organized at the end of the 2015 Annual General Meeting, offered members and guests an opportunity to relax, dine and wine. Welcoming the guests, the chapter chairman of NIPR, Mrs. Elsie Dofia, said the chapter is a force to reckon with in the country and appealed to guests to support the Secretariat Expansion Project. Mrs. Dofia sued for cooperation by members of the Institute to enable the executive to achieve its plans.
What we are gathering here today to do, to raise funds to assist us expand our Secretariat and build the Institute to greater heights. I also like to, in a very special way, urge all of us members to note that the Institute is for all of us.
The chairman on the occasion, who is also the chairman University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Sir Valentine Atta, appreciated the contributions of NIPR to nation building and recommended the engagement of public relation personnel by political office holders.
Every NIPR person will see him or herself as distinct in leadership, in integrity, in trustworthy and honesty.
The President and Chairman of Council, NIPR, Dr. Rutimi Oladele, who was represented by Professor Emmanuel Dandura, expressed satisfaction with the cordial relationship between the state chapter and the national headquarters and called for more cooperation among members.
On behalf of the Governing Council of the Institute, reiterate the fact that the Akwa Ibom State chapter of the Institute is very important to us. It is one of the chapters we are indeed very proud of.
The Commissioner for Information, who was the chief host, Mr. Nyekanumana, acknowledged the achievements NIPR has recorded in the state. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Oliver Odokbo, Mr. Umana assured the Institute of State Government's readiness to assist in the development of the study center and donated 1 million naira for the Secretariat expansion project.
Indeed, it is a moment to celebrate ourselves for our achievements within the past 1 year and take stock of the contributions of our stakeholders, associates and friends towards the attainment of our goals and the success of our profession and the Institute generally.
The event climaxed with the presentation of the awards to the recipients. Idara Bongse reporting.
Thank you, Idarabong, and with that report we conclude our news this morning. And now the top stories. Yesterday was observed as World Malaria Day. We also brought you a report that the wife of the state governor, Mrs. Ekaite Onomakpabio, has donated wrappers to widows of fallen heroes at the Wellington Bassey Barracks, Abak. That's our package. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45Uyo or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. Thanks for watching. Good morning.